Hello and welcome to today's Fenland Chat Hour. I'm producer Dave and my host is Amanda Carlin.
Hello, producer Dave.
Hello, how are you today?
Very good, thank you, producer Dave, because the sun's shining, blue skies, heating's off, windows are open. It's great.
It is wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, we've got this lovely high pressure just sitting over the UK and we're getting some fantastic weather.
Yes.
And I think it's very much needed at the moment.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I can imagine spirits would be down if it was pouring with rain every day. I think even just getting out and just having, like say, having the windows open, having a bit of warm air, sort of listening to the birds and enjoying the freshness of everything. It's nice, but I do believe it's going to change, but sort of make the most of what we have at the moment if you can get out in the garden and just enjoy the sun and the fresh air. Any news from the last couple of days since our last podcast? Anything changed?
Well, Doris is better, which is good, yes, and but Gail, the lovely Gail, has kindly taken Doris's blue bin out for her. You were right, good. It was the blue bin.
It was the blue bin. Woohoo! Go Wimbo bins.
Yay!
But we have our Doris section coming up a bit later on.
Yes.
So as normal, we will start with the news. I will say that I didn't do anything, so there's not really much to report from my end. So we'll just move on to the news. So we'll quickly go through the news. The first one is police news. We're getting both Cambridgeshire and Peterborough police forces have now issued a website for people to report breaches of people breaking isolation guidelines that have been set up. So if you are seeing businesses and people who are repeatedly flouting or large congregations, then they've set up, and I believe it's through eCops. Yes. But if you go onto the Cams Times or the Peterborough Times, the Eastern Daily Press, any of the local newspapers, there is an article and a link to the eCops website, which has other breakdowns of what you can link onto. So you can go there and you can report, because it is frustrating if we're doing the bits, we're doing our self-isolation, and then you're seeing other people congregating and having parties and things, and it's just not good. It's just not helping anyone, especially as the figures are still going up and will keep going up while people are not following the guidelines.
Yes. And
the police have also said that if there are continued breaches, then they will be imposing fines for people who are not following the guidelines as well. So be prepared to get fined if you're not following.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
I think they've been doing it in small parts, people in parks and things and traffic. I think there was a guy that drove 200 miles allegedly for a loaf of bread. So he had a slap on the wrist as well. So they will have a go.
200 miles for a loaf of bread?
Well, that's what he said. So the police took a very dim view of that.
I'm sure they did. I wonder what he was really doing.
So I believe you have some Cambridgeshire County Council news.
I do. Thank you, producer Dave. Oh, I can speak. Cambridgeshire County Council are alerting motorists to the fact that there are more cyclists on the road, so please watch out during lockdown. Well, and cyclists are going out to do their daily exercise. They are not breaking any rules, but cyclists are also asked to ensure they wear their helmets and brightly coloured clothing so that they can be easily identified by motorists. And I think I've got something from Fenland as well.
Oh, good.
Oh, yes, that's right. So Fenland District Council have set up an online set of exercise classes. So you can log in through Fenland District Council social media pages.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it?
Yeah. Are you going to be logging in?
Well, I have seen lots and lots of personal trainers that are local to me that are setting up online Zumba and Pilates and this kind of thing. I do like that the district council are doing it, but I want to give the local businesses a go. I think I will log in and see how I get on.
I think, like anything, if people do multiple classes, some people do different things. So maybe on a Monday you do Joe Wicks, on Tuesday you do FDC, if on Wednesday you do Daley Thompson's workout, and then Thursday you do the Mr. Motivator. So I guess you can do a bit of variety and do lots of different things.
Yeah.
And then you can alternate your spandex.
He's got 12 to 15 new unitards, hasn't he, with vacuum bum bags?
So I'd heard, yeah.
Funny man. He's lovely though.
He is. And we're just talking about what it's like in the 80s, so yeah, bring back Mr. Motivator. Dog wardens, I believe you have an update from dog wardens.
Oh yes, I do, dog wardens. So the dog wardens have said, this is interesting, it's a legal requirement to report any stray dogs that you come across, but the dog wardens have to operate according to the new COVID-19 guidelines. So if they're collecting a stray dog, they have to collect it from outside, not inside a property. So, and also members of the public are being asked not to take a stray dog directly to the vets unless they're asked to do so. So the rule of thumb is, if you see a stray dog, please call Fenland District Council, and the number is easy to remember. It's 01354 654 321. Very easy. And the representative you speak to on the phone will tell you what to do, or advise you what to do, not tell you what to do. The dog warden's operating Monday to Friday 9 to 5, and all valid officers have ID cards, so when they come out you will know who they are. For individuals that are finding it difficult to get out and buy food, the dog wardens locally also run a pet rescue centre called Ravenswood. So rather than call Fenland District Council if you've got difficulty getting food, contact Ravenswood Pet Rescue via their Facebook page, and they will help you with dog food and cat food.
Okay, and there'll probably be others as well if you do search.
Yes, probably.
Because obviously they'll be able to supply the whole of the Fenland, so there must be others in Wisbech or Chatteris or other areas locally as well.
They do cover the whole of the Fens. I think that Ravenswood isn't it somewhere near Wisbech?
I don't know. I've not come across them. No,
they're very good, and they do work in conjunction with the RSPCA as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have some other pet news, which has come from the British Veterinary Association, and it was funny that we actually led the story on Monday talking about tigers getting COVID, and there was a case where another cat has got COVID as well, and I believe that was Hong Kong off the top of my head. I can't remember for definite, but the BVA have issued some guidelines because there's been some confusion this morning over what is the policy. Now I'll just read the first bit so there's no confusion, but this is what they've said from what's his name, the President Daniela dos Santos. We're not advising that all cats are kept indoors, only cats from infected households or where their owners are self-isolating, and only if the cat is happy to be kept indoors. some cats cannot stay indoors due to stress-related medical reasons. So that's fairly clear. Basically, if the cats are happy to stay indoors, if you are having to self-isolate, then by all means keep the cats indoors. But if they are social cats and they come and go, then let them carry and go, because otherwise you're going to cause more stress. But whatever you do, don't hand your cats back into pet homes or care. What is it? Sanctuary, rescue centres for and the same with dogs as well. There is no need for pets to be taken to rescue centres at the moment. There's just carry on as normal. Just include your dogs as walking with your hour of exercise each day. Just keep looking after them, and it's just there's no need for pets to be handed in. Just carry on as normal.
I can't imagine what it would be like for a pet, actually. This is stressful enough for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, probably cats more so than dogs, because cats like their own space, don't they? Dogs absolutely are probably lapping it up right now, having all the cuddles they could ever want.
But cats they do pick up on a lot of social
they do, don't they?
Feelings, behaviour and stuff. So if they know that things have changed, that can cause a lot of anxiety in cats as well.
So if they're then put into a rescue centre, that's going to be awful for them.
Yeah.
They'd be so confused.
Yeah. Just look after them, try and make them happy. Don't crowd them, give them a space. Cats like space. Just make sure you've got quiet areas for them to stay. Don't lock them in. And just keep them happy. Although I draw the line at cat soup. I can't get my head around cat soup.
I don't know.
The government have also given out another request, something that we mentioned a few episodes ago, and that was to stop smoking. There's more of a concerted effort of trying to encourage people to stop, because obviously there's such an underlying issue with the lungs and respiratory issues when coronavirus does attack, so you have better chances of surviving or coming through unharmed if you do make the effort to stop. It will increase your chances. It's not going to be a cure, but it's only going to give you a better chance to fight any infections.
Wow, if there's any reason to give up, that's a good one.
So I believe the national anti-smoking campaigns, they're trying to, or the NHS, they're trying to push out more advice on trying to give up during this time.
That's good.
So I think that's all for the news, unless you have anything else that we've missed for main news. All right. So the daily stats as of yesterday, because we're always working a day behind because we do the show before we get today's current stats. So as of yesterday, the world number of cases is 1,448,680. So we're just shy of 1.5 million cases so far. In the UK, it's 55,242, and sadly 6,159 people have died so far. Now, what's worrying, although the number of cases is reducing, the number of deaths is still going up, and we're on a 4-day doubling. Now, if nothing was to change, if we were to still have the same number of rate of increase at the moment of every 4 days, so 6,000 cases today, by the 12th it would be 12,000, by the 20th it would be 48,000, and by the end of the month it will be 200,000 cases. 200,000 deaths. That's not even cases, that is deaths. If it carries on doubling every 4 days, people just have to how, like we said last time, how many more deaths have to occur before people get the message. It's worrying. It's worrying. Okay, well, And the other bit was probably by the end of today we will have overtaken Iran and moved into seventh place for the number of cases that have been diagnosed in the world listings, with America at the top. I can give a full, or next time I can do list of countries and their location and their listing in the charts. Not the best charts in the world to listen to, but if anyone's interested. So well, that's the facts for today. So we'll now go on to Doris and try and lift the mood a bit and get back to back to what the show's all about, and that's what would Doris do and how she's getting on.
Well, thank you, David. Doris has been asked, we've got a question. Doris spoke about creative ways of cooking and using her slow cooker in particular. So somebody's written and asked, well, how does Doris cook baked potatoes in her slow cooker? That is an interesting question, actually. So what Doris does is she gets a floury potato, she covers it in oil, seasons with salt and pepper, and then covers with foil.
Yeah.
Puts them into the slow cooker on high for 4 to 5 hours. And she says the skin doesn't crisp up, but the potato, the inside, is absolutely gorgeous and floury and lovely.
Just so that people heard that right, that's 4 to 5 hours, not 45 hours.
4 to 5 hours, yes, that's right.
Just in case there was it wasn't heard properly. Yeah, so we're not talking about 2 days cooking. It's just 4. It would be cremated by then, I think. Yeah, so 4 to 5 hours.
Yes. And Doris has also come up with an activity for families. She's suggesting getting a paper cup. If you've got one that's already decorated nicely, that's fine. But if not, decorate it. And as the temperature's getting hotter, get your ice lolly sticks, save them, wash them, then paint them, and put various different tasks on the sticks to do. So, for example, she said wipe door handles could be one, card game time, 10 minutes phone time, Lego challenge, wipe dust, write a letter, puzzle time, organise a drawing time, scooting in the alley. That sounds like fun. So there's some suggestions that Doris has come up with, and she says, why not pick 3 times during the day where you pull a stick out of the cup, and then you have to do that task. Yes.
I can honestly say I can see Doris scooting up and down the alleyway.
Yes.
Yeah, any kind of random thing like that. But just going back to the slow cookers, I mean, it's something that we use, and we quite often do things like cakes. And
cakes are good, aren't they?
Chocolate sponges, and you can do bread in them. You can do rice. Rice is quite nice. Do a curry and rice. So you do a chili or a curry in there, and then you put a bag of rice and stick them on the top. So there's a lot of variety you can do with them.
That's actually a very good idea, isn't it? I didn't think about the bag of rice. Yes, that's
I think you put water in it and just it cooks away quite nicely as well, and then it's
No, nothing else from Doris today. But we hope she
gets
continues
better.
to get better. Yes.
Okay, the next bit we have is interviews. We don't have an interview today, but what we're going to do is on Friday, we're doing a slight change in the format for the show. So what we have an interview with a chap called Andrew Callahan, who works or runs courses. What sort of courses are they classed as? Bushcraft courses in the Secret Garden near Wisbech, and he does a lot of work with schools and groups and organisations to give them skills of lighting fires, cooking, camping, sort of like micro adventures and survival skills that you can use. And it's good team bonding exercises for businesses as well, and just sort of groups to come together and try things. And they do families, groups as well. So they do quite a wide range. I think some of them do courses for foraging for natural sourced food as well. So things like funguses and mushrooms and things like that. So it's worth listening to. So what we'll do is we have an interview with him, and then we're going to show a film that Andrew and his daughter made about how to make fires and what to use in the household, of how to light a fire and what to use, and how to what materials to use as well. So we're going to do a small introduction, and then the interview with them. So that will be the format for Friday's show.
Yeah, and Andrew and Maddie work really well together. They do great stuff.
And they're talking to them. They're looking at doing a show at some point, or a regular show in the future.
That'd be good.
There would be. They've got lots of skill sets that are sort of opposite each other, but come together quite nicely in what they do. So yeah, that should be quite interesting. They're quite passionate and quite keen to get that off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so tune in for Friday. So we technically won't be here on Friday, but there will be a show, and we will do a smaller show on Monday as well. So although it's the bank holiday and the Easter weekend, we will endeavour to get something out over the weekend as well. So life with lockdown, we have some news, or we were talking about getting podcasts on iTunes.
Yes.
However, nothing has happened yet, and when I did some research on how long it takes to actually register a podcast on iTunes, it says anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 weeks.
Right, okay.
So I'm not holding my breath for that. However, I went on to Stitcher, which is another podcast provider, and I registered, and we've been accepted.
Oh, that's really exciting.
And as of now, we are now live on Stitcher.
Oh, hello Stitcher.
We are. So, hello Stitcher. So we will push out some promotions for that later on today. Once the show's been aired, giving the links to that. So if you have Stitcher on your smartphones and you want to listen, then the podcast is available in audio format there, which is brilliant.
Okay. Yes, it is. That's excellent.
So here comes our world domination, putting Fenland back on the map.
Yay.
Make Fenland great again.
Yes.
So yeah, that's exciting news. So yeah, we'll keep you informed. We'll maybe have stats of how many people aren't listening to us.
Yes.
Well, we've done so far. We've had quite a few people listen so far. So, and I'm getting people message that I know that maybe haven't spoken to me for a while.
I saw one. Yes.
There was one in Manea. Shout out to Manea. That was someone I used to work with, and she messaged to say that she'd seen the podcast, and so it's great that people out there are finding it without me having to tell them it's there. So yeah, so yeah, I mean, we are sharing the podcast locally with, obviously, in Wimbledon and Chatteris and Manea and Christchurch and Benwick, Doddington, Wisbech,
and March,
Whittlesea, and March. Yeah, so that's the area of coverage. So if you know people in that area and they haven't seen it, then share it and spread the love. Retail activity for the weekend. I believe you have some update on that then.
Well, yes, I do. Thank you, David. So FACT are asking people to get their shopping orders in for the Easter break, because the volunteers at FACT are taking a very well-earned break over the bank holiday. If you've not ordered with FACT before, it's a seamless operation. You phone them up, the order number is 01354 661 234. So the fact team take the order. They shop in Tesco's. And once they've got the shopping, they box it up. The shopping's delivered free of charge to your home safely.
Yep.
And then after you've received the items, you ring Fact with your debit card so payment can be made. And then you know who you're speaking to.
Yep.
It feels safe. In addition to that, not weekend shopping, but Clark's shoe shop in March. They've been saved from closure because Clark's are having to close some of their shops. So that's really good news for March.
It is. I can imagine it's a worrying time for a lot of businesses, a lot of towns as well, worrying how many businesses are going to be lost.
Yeah.
So the fact that Clark's is staying, because that is such an important one for a lot of families with kids who obviously go to school. That's the first pair of school shoes, or generally just shoes, is Clark's. It's almost like a rite of passage.
It is, isn't it?
So it's good that we still have a clothes shop, a shoe shop that's still here, and it's great news that they are staying.
Yeah, in our household, it's a must for my husband, who tends to rush down on Christmas Eve to get my Christmas presents.
A new pair of shoes.
I always get, actually, it's a new pair of boots and a new handbag from Clark's every year. They're very nice too.
Well, that's good. That's good news. Okay, next one is the police are running an Easter competition for the kids. I believe you have some information on that as well.
Yes, I do. Thank you, David. Yes, the Fenland cops, Fen cops, have decided they're going to run a competition for children, and they would like children to please create an Easter hat for their officers. There's no limitations to what the children can do as far as design's concerned, and once you've done your design, please photograph it and send it to the FenCops social media pages, and you might win an Easter egg if you win, and that would be delivered to homes by officers on patrol, hopefully wearing a design.
Yay.
Yeah, that sounds like fun, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
Oh, I can imagine what the hats are going to look like. Some will be posted on the FenCops social media pages as well.
Oh, brilliant. So maybe we can see some pictures next time.
Oh, David, I have to say, I did like the photo of your cat with the mask.
Oh, you said
brilliant.
That is an actual picture, so yes, that is an actual. It was just ironic that that leading with that story and then finding out everything has changed and everyone's panicking about cats. We're cutting edge here. We're leading the stories.
Yay!
Shows how important and up to date we are.
Yes, it does.
Okay, the last one you were talking about. Last episode, you were talking about plants from the local,
Cottage.
Chapel Cottage, yeah.
Yes.
Just a friend of mine sent a link to say that there's an app. It's called the Plant Net app, and it's produced by the Royal Horticultural Society. And I think you just load it onto your phone, and it helps identify types of plants. So if people are actually looking at, going out and identifying stuff, then that helps in their identification.
That's brilliant.
So that's worth it, and that's called PlantNet app. So from the RHS. And when you're out, you're having lots of exercise, which leads on to the next topic of online fitness. So what have we got, Mrs. Motivator? What have we got for?
Well. It's true. A lot of personal trainers are setting up Zumba classes and Pilates and what have you. So the ones that are local to us here in Wimbledon are Effie Fitness and Gloria Wilkinson. So they're doing online classes. So take a look at their Facebook pages and find out some more. And also, if you go to the district council pages, they've got various classes throughout the day that they're promoting at the moment. Actually, there is another Zumba class in Wimbledon and Doddington, Tanya Shepherd, who's also doing them online. So it's interesting, the conversation that we had earlier before we started recording, actually, isn't it, David? Because I was saying, oh yes, you can try these out in the peace and comfort of your own home. And then David quite rightly pointed out, would you really want to do that in front of family? So that's true. I hadn't thought about that. But if your family are around, go out in the garden, set your laptop up in the garden and shut the blinds so nobody can see you.
Yes, I can imagine a lot of people, like we were discussing, that a lot of people, they do all these exercises in the privacy of their own home when other partners and kids have all gone to school and work. So they're on their own, so they don't have the anxiety of doing exercises in front of other people. So I can imagine with all the family together having to do that, can be just as stressful, or can be used as an excuse to not do it.
Yeah, true.
So it's definitely go and try and find a quiet room in the house with a bit of space, or like you say, in the garden, away from everyone, and try and just get some 15-20 minutes to yourself with some kind of structured exercise routine. And
if anything, you'll feel really good about it.
You will, yes, you'll definitely feel. And it's a break as well. It gives you something, it gives you a purpose for the day. It gives you a sense of achievement. It obviously helps for medical reasons as well, but it breaks up the day. It just helps break up some of the monotony as well. Now I'm going to go into a bit of a sad bit of news, but just more of a frustrating bit of news. And we're talking about businesses that are putting in for working as furlough during this current time, but the bosses are still making the staff work, which is a no-no. This is a big no-no. But I've heard from two people, I know 2 cases so far, that this is happening, where the bosses are still making the staff come into work even though they're on furlough.
Well, I mean, that's really serious, isn't it?
It is, because this is something that we were talking about before, and it's like you've got potential for industrial manslaughter. If something happens and someone dies as a result of this, then you've got all sorts of legal issues. You've got financial implications. You've got insurance implications, because your insurance won't pay up. Because if you've said that you are closed and you have an accident or something happens, you won't be insured, which I think people won't even considered. But yeah, if you've said that you are closing down and applying to the government to help bail you out through furlough, and you are still making your staff work, you stay open or you're closed. You can't have it both ways, and you're putting pressure on families and people, because some of the people are statemented and they've been given the letters and they've got either underlying issues or they're having to self-isolate. So you've got so many issues here that are being undermined by bosses who are, for some unknown reason, are trying to carry on working. So
it's incredibly serious. That's a really terrible thing. I mean, if those organisations were reported, there'd be in so much hot water.
Well, we can go back to the link that we talked about at the beginning about breaches for, if it is that serious and you are concerned, and if you feel you've got no one else to talk to, then get in touch with the ECOPS and report it, because it's a health and safety issue and legal issue, and there's so many things that it's just so many wrong boxes that it's ticking.
So, David, those individuals, bless them, I can imagine they feel intimidated and don't want to report their employer.
Yeah, there's definitely an issue of stress from bullying, and whether it's psychological bullying and peer pressure coming down from the businesses, basically pushing and pressuring them into doing something that they're not wanting to do.
Oh, that's really terrible. That's really, really terrible.
But this goes right from the top, from big businesses as well, who are, we've heard all the companies that are trying to make their companies stay open and trying to say that they are key workers, and it's just not right, because, like I say, people are going to find out by the end of this whether they're named and shamed, or just people are just not going to want to work for them.
I've been self-employed for so many years now, and it's, this kind of culture that makes me feel so grateful that I don't have to worry about these things. And there's always that, kind of feast and famine kind of thing that goes on with self-employment.
And I'm quite aware of that myself. It is very much like that, and you never know where the next paycheck's coming from.
Exactly, but you don't have the stress. If anything goes wrong, it's on your head, be it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how it is. You're not bullied into doing something you don't agree with, and you're not having to comply with policy that's unacceptable to you. There's fors and against in everything, aren't there, really?
Yeah, there are.
Wow, those poor people.
Yeah, it is worrying. It's really sad that that's what it's coming down to. We have some lighter news. It was something that a friend of mine sent. They were bored, so they decided to make a gallery for their hamster, or gerbil. I think it was gerbil. So they've made different animals. So they've basically created it to the scale of the pet, and they've made pictures or paintings or copies of famous paintings, but done in styles of gerbils or hamsters or mice. So I think that is a challenge. If you want to be creative and you have a small pet, or whether a cat or a dog, but do pictures of famous paintings. They don't have to be great works of art. They just have to be something funny or something humorous, and just create this pictures for a gallery for your pet. It could be stick insects.
That would work for me.
Or chameleons, or geckos, or whatever pet you have. So if you decide, you can, and I'm sure I'll share the picture that I was sent. But if you have a desire to do that and create a gallery for your pet, then we will play. Unfortunately, we won't be able to play the music that goes along with the gallery from Take Heart, but copyright. I don't think we'd be allowed to do that.
No.
But I'm sure we'll find some other music, and so if you have any pictures that you would like to show of pet orientation, then by all means, have fun and send us those. We'll put a link. An email link at the end. Now that's something that I must do, is to create a website.
Yeah.
Well, not a website, but a web page specifically for the show, because now that we're kind of expanding faster than I can cope with, and trying to share all the links to all the places is getting quite difficult. And I much appreciate you sending a lot of shares on Facebook as well. So I think it would be easier to try and sort of consolidate a lot of the stuff now, so that people know. If we just say, go to the website and you will be able to find the podcasts at these locations, the videos at this location, the audio this location. Here's a list of guests. Here's the list of things that we've got in the future. So a lot more information and content, and maybe some photos as well.
Mm.
So that people know exactly. Easier just to go to one place and see it all.
Sounds good.
So that'll be this weekend's project.
Oh, David, you never stop.
I don't. I couldn't stop. I would get bored. Now we still have the Twitter poll still going. We started on Monday.
Yes.
That's still going. Quite a few people have voted so far. It's interesting to see. Twitter, it's still fairly level pegging. On Facebook, it's kind of one-sided. But we'll give you the results to that on our next show, which will be Monday, by the time we actually have all the results. And now we have the result of the last episode's character, our
Lovely
character quiz. Now, and here he is. Who is it? Who is the character?
I don't know who he is. I was looking. He looks like an Eskimo. Who is he?
It's Kenny McCormack from the South Park.
Oh, that, of course it is. I was looking at it. I was thinking, I recognise him. I don't know who he is. Oh, bless him.
We had no one guess it right this week.
It's because it's obviously Kenny when you say, but he does. You can't see his face too well, can you?
So maybe that should be on the website. Have a picture so then people can see it clearly.
Yes.
But we have another character from film or television. In fact, there's a double question: is who the character is, what character is he dressed up as, and what film's he from?
Oh, right. Okay, that's a good one.
So that's a 3-part question.
That is.
So, yes, message us on Twitter or on Facebook, and we will get round to having a specific email as well, so you can send us, you can contact us that way. We don't have a phone yet or a phone number. Is that something that's in the workings, or?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So you will then be able to send us texts relating to the show. So we're getting there bit by bit. That was the general plan, just to grow it. It's just kind of growing faster than we kind of expected.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's almost like an epidemic.
Oh dear. I've got one more thing.
Okay.
To report, and that is Stainless Metal Craft. They fund various organisations.
Yes, they do. They do a lot of
throughout the year.
Yeah.
Yes. So this season's funding, instead of donating it up and splitting it up the way they usually do, they're giving the whole funding pot to local food banks, which is great.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's great news.
And Chatteris Food Bank is still accepting donations, even though Chatteris Parish Church is closed.
Yeah. Donations
can be made at the BP garage in Chatteris opposite Rumbles.
Okay, yeah.
And Chatteris are searching for other outlets who would accept food bank donations for them. So contact the parish church if you're happy to do that. March Food Bank is still accepting donations at Barclays Bank, Iceland, Tesco's and Sainsbury's.
And if you have any information out there for someone who knows about Wisbech or Whittlesea or any other towns that are running food banks, then we would appreciate that information as well.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. So is that everything from you?
Yes, it is. Thank you, David.
Well, it's been another show. I think that's been another successful show, don't you?
Well, it depends how you measure success. If we're measuring it on having fun and helping people, then I think it's very successful. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Now you have more chances to watch and listen. I might even do a little videoette of how to see or find the show. Go through some of the means, so it actually specifically looks at where, and especially some of the older listeners as well. You know, if they wanted to find other ways to watch or listen to the show, other than just on the laptop or phone, there are other ways as well to be able to connect and watch and listen. So I will do a short video at some point in the next few days, exploring and explaining what to do and where to find them.
That's good. That's very helpful.
So, because I know all the kids are all quite savvy, but it's us oldies who don't always know what's out there and how easy it is to find them.
I know, children are scary, aren't they? They just, I know how to do that. I'm 18 months old.
Yeah, I know. It is quite frightening, but you know, it's the way things are.
Yeah.
Kids always get hold of technology faster than anybody else.
Yeah. The thing for children is everything about life for them is change, isn't it?
Yeah.
Change is the one thing that happens all the time.
And they're used to it.
Yeah.
So,
makes them more resilient.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cool. Right. Well, that's the end of today's show. Thank you very much for watching on the video podcast. Thank you for listening on the audio podcasts. Appreciate you taking the time to listen, and for those who get in touch as well, it's great to hear that you're actually enjoying the show and sharing it with your friends as well. That's brilliant. So that's it from me.
And from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening, for watching. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Goodbye.